Hi everyone, so in this video I want to show you how to tweak the content, make changes and see how in particular changing the content in the master slide will propagate across all of your accounts. So in the past two videos we show how to getting started with the Principal and create an account, and also how Principal works. So Principal works by combining data, essentially like an Excel file, like a table, data on your accounts that you can research or we can research for you, but you can do it yourself if you want, and a template slide, which can be a slide or a presentation, but essentially putting together data and design to generate content for each of your accounts, and also to make it easier to share it with your clients and prospect, and also track it. So now let's work and focus specifically on how to change the design and make edits. So now we're still here and we're still focused on the example that come along with when you register a new account with the Principal. You will get this example: Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche. These are your free sample accounts, assuming these are the targets account you want to go and sell into. Now we go on the cog icon here, we click and we go in the content template section. There is only one template, it's a sample presentation we saw in the last video. If I click on data source, I get into the account data. So Ferrari, Lamborghini, and Porsche, this is are the data points we research to generate this piece of content. And then if I go back and I click on master slides, here is the design. So it's a Google slide and a one pager in this case, but it can be multiple pages. And it's the template that is essentially the base for the content for each account. Now, what I want to show you is what happens if I change this. This is the master. So any change you will make here, it will propagate downstream to all the accounts, right? So what happens if, for example, this piece of whatever research case study was showing the latest model launch for these automotive brands. What about if we only want to show 2 instead of 3? So I'm just gonna go ahead and delete 1 and maybe recenter those so they're a little more centered. And I want to show you how this sort of reflects into the other account. So I made this change. Now I go back to Principal, and in particular I go back to the home page, which is the content page. Now what I'm gonna see is essentially the content for each account is reloading. So what Principal essentially detected that I made a change on the master and is regenerating the content for my accounts. Now it's probably the same thing with Lamborghini. Lamborghini was actually, or it's already finished. So you can see here, this slide is now only showing 2 cars instead of 3. Porsche is the same, and probably by this time also Ferrari done. So you see I made a change in the master and is propagated downstream to all my accounts. So that's very, very easy, especially when you have not 3, but maybe 30, 40, or whatever is your number of sort of target strategic accounts you want to do this content for. Now, the other thing that's interesting is, what if I want, for example, I like this piece of content for Lamborghini, and maybe my marketing team put it together and is managing Principal. I'm the salesperson, the sales rep, but really I want to make some changes because I have some insights, or I know the person, or whatever. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click on Edit Slides. And in this case, it will open specifically the slide for Lamborghini, and the changes that I'm gonna make here are gonna only stay to this specific piece of content. So it's not the master, it's just the specific account for Lamborghini. So and here I could, for example, add, I don't know, a tag, which is if I talk to, assuming I talk to Chris, right? I can say, I don't know, post or discussions with Chris on January 20 or something, right? Just like a note or a sticker or something that is, to make it, even sending this to Chris, I want to make this even, more personalized, or maybe I want to tweak something. I know actually this is, the employee count. I actually know because it is actually 1,500. I want to make any small changes. Now I change this slide, which is the one for Lamborghini. If I go back on Lamborghini, you know, maybe it could take a few seconds, but you know, the changes are reflected here. And again, you know, the thing I can do, as I showed in the previous video, I can just click on copy thumbnail, select this. I can choose if I'm using a sequence software, so like Outreach, or I can select if I'm using my manual client. I can click here and then copy paste it into, just go paste it into my email, into Gmail, for example, and send it. It will already contain a link, and so if I then go into the analytics section, I will be able to see who in my account, you know, who of my target accounts is engaging, who's engaging the most, what the CTR, so on and so forth, and so to understand the engagement and what they're looking, what they like, and what they don't like. So that's the idea, and how you essentially go on and change. The last thing you can do is essentially here. So for each account, you see here on the right hand side, there is the essentially data section. So what does it displays? It essentially displays what is in the Excel, so what is in the data source, but just more visually. And for example, the images actually appear as an image, so you can actually see them. Also, something you can do is you can actually change and review the data points here. So instead of going and editing this specific slide, you can actually edit the data points here. So for example, what I can do, I can change the lineup here. You're gonna click on edit, and for example, you can make some change that you want. For example, delete this entry, and then you could click on save. When you change a data point here, the presentation again will take a few seconds, but will update. And the important difference is if you edit a data point here, the Excel also, by the way, will be updated automatically, but then this piece of content will remain parametric. And so again, like any change you make either in the Excel or here in the data, it will automatically reflect. We can actually see here, if I open the slide now, the description and the lineup is being, whatever, this one line here is being changed. And so whatever, the ways you have to change the content, you can change the master, you can edit the individual piece of content for one account, or you can change the parameters for the account, which will be essentially reflected in the piece of content. So this gives you sort of full control, gives the control, you know, from a more design perspective to your designer or marketing team. It gives also control to the sales team, the sales rep, that can go in and sort of add this final salt and pepper to the content before sending to their account. Last thing you can do, you can also click here, download to PDF, and so this will essentially download the document as a PDF. And some of the user of Principal, they actually download the content, they actually print it and send it as traditional mail to the customer. They mail it because it's very, you know, the output can be very strategic, very bespoke. You can do it too, or you can attach it, or do, you know, find the best way to sort of send it to your prospect and communicate the value. So if you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel. We're talking about account-based marketing and sales implementation, how to do it practically with the use of Principal, and I will see you in the next video.